Have you ever thought about the potential impact of a country's economic collapse on the world? Today, we'll be diving into the ongoing crisis in Pakistan, which has far-reaching consequences beyond the country's borders. About 7 months ago, I made a video highlighting the severity of Pakistan's economic crisis. Since then, the situation has only worsened, and the nation is now on the brink of a civil war. Pakistan is a nuclear-armed country with over 230 million citizens, which means that a collapse of the nation could have global implications. In this video, we will be looking at the economic and political issues that Pakistan is facing and how they are interconnected, creating the mess we see today. First, let's take a look at the economic crisis. The term economic woes no longer accurately describes the depth of the crisis. Collapse is a better word. Pakistan is facing a complete economic collapse, with backbreaking inflation, a depreciating currency, and precariously low foreign reserves. Pakistan is experiencing what is called a balance of payments crisis, meaning that the country has been spending more on trade than it has been bringing in, which depletes its foreign currency reserves faster than it can fill them. Pakistan is heavily reliant on imports, with net imports exceeding its exports, so having low foreign currency reserves means that it has a low buying capacity on the international market. At one point this year, it was estimated that Pakistan only had 3 weeks' worth of money left for imports. This came after the reserves had reached an 8-year low. Additionally, the US dollar has rallied in strength in the last year, which is good for the US but puts more financial pressure on countries that import heavily like Pakistan, as they need more money to buy the US dollar, the currency used for global transactions. The shortage of foreign currency presents several problems for Pakistan. On one hand, it forces the country to start borrowing more to keep up with imports. Pakistan's unfavorable loans from China have already been discussed in previous videos. The interest rates are high, the payback periods are low, and a collateral risk is not balanced. The country needing more money means leveraging more of Pakistan's tomorrow to pay for today's mistakes. At present, China already owns 30% of Pakistan's foreign debt, and the unfavorable terms of that debt are a bomb waiting to explode. Furthermore, the already low foreign currency reserves keep getting depleted because the nation still needs to function. The government's artificial props to keep the rupee strong have the unfortunate impact of weighing on the rupee's value. As a result, Pakistan is now facing higher debt pressure, ever-increasing costs of importing goods, and a weak currency. It's easy to see how bad the situation has become, but what does this mean for the rest of the world? The collapse of Pakistan would not only drag Asia but the entire world with it. Pakistan's nuclear-armed status and its location make it a critical player in global politics. Its current instability poses a significant threat to regional and global security. The refugee crisis that would result from a civil war in Pakistan would be catastrophic, with millions fleeing the country and putting more strain on neighboring nations. The global economic crisis has led to many companies around the world shutting down their factories, either temporarily or indefinitely. This is due to issues like sourcing raw materials and a drop in demand. Unfortunately, Pakistan is not immune to this crisis, and companies like Suzuki Gandhara Tire and Rubber Company, GSK Plux Pakistan Unit, Ingro Fertilizers Limited, Amarelli Steels Limited, Mala Tractors Limited, and Diamond Industries Limited have all suspended their operations. This has resulted in increased unemployment in the nation, and it's a worrying trend as the economy is getting worse every day. It's not just Pakistan that is facing these issues, as many countries around the world are also experiencing economic problems. It's a fast-moving environment when it comes to geopolitics, and that's why I launched my newsletter. Every week, I send out major global news straight to your email inbox, and you can sign up by clicking on the link in the description. Best of all, it's free. Pakistan is currently facing political turmoil, which is threatening to rip the country apart. The nation is becoming more difficult to govern with each passing year. The root of the current political turmoil is Imran Khan, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan from 2018 up until 2022. He was forcibly removed from power through a no-confidence motion in the National Assembly. Khan claims that it was a US-led conspiracy to eliminate him, and ever since then, he has been staging mass rallies aimed at reinstalling himself as the Prime Minister. This has caused severe police brutality, resulting in several deaths, injuries, and arrests. As the months go on, the protests have begun taking more militant forms, with protesters arming themselves with sticks. This is a very dangerous situation, as it is a few steps away from a military conflict. Pakistan is a country that can break into a civil war any day now. The only thing that is keeping Pakistan from a military conflict is the fact that all the major political parties, despite their fierce differences, are invested in keeping the country intact. However, these political woes have made the economic crisis worse. The frequent leadership changes have made it hard for Pakistan to have a long-term strategy. Instead, each government comes with measures that are short-term and will only serve to make the people happy in the here and now. With each new government, Pakistan is getting buried in more problems as the economic problems heighten. The economic crisis in Pakistan has been exacerbated by the frequent changes in leadership, which have prevented the implementation of long-term strategies. Instead, each government focuses on short-term measures to please the public. Unfortunately, this approach has only buried Pakistan deeper in economic problems, while political struggles have reached a boiling point. As a result, the future of the country is in limbo. But that's not all. Pakistan has faced other unforeseen challenges in the past year. For example, the country was hit by floods, a lot of really bad floods. These floods killed over 1,000 people and affected the lives of more than 30 million people. People are in dire need of help, and there isn't much time. Around 250,000 people are at risk of drowning, and many districts are still out of reach due to roads and bridges being swept away. The floods have wreaked havoc on vital infrastructure, and military helicopters are carrying out daily rescue operations. Families who have lost their homes are sleeping on the roadside, shocked, shattered, and starving. The floods were massive, affecting all 4 of the country's provinces and approximately 15% of the population. They were so bad that about 1/3 of Pakistan's landmass was covered in water, resulting in the displacement of millions of poor Pakistani citizens. In addition to the heavy loss of life and emotional burdens, these floods have left Pakistan with a huge bill to foot for reconstruction and aid. This has added to the strains on the government budget, a budget that was already struggling. According to the World Bank, estimates Pakistan needs at least $16 billion to somewhat handle the losses and damages incurred. Yes, you heard that right, $16 billion. This is coming at a time when the entire nation's reserve fund is just $3 billion. It's a sad situation. On top of this natural disaster,